Alright friends, this is Elvis Photos. We're going to do a little combination video. Going to show you some photos that you may or may not have ever seen. Y'all know I've got a lot of photos, I think over 34,000 photos of Elvis. And of course that's how I started this channel out. But I'm going to introduce, some more new Elvis tribute songs that I wrote. And I'm also going to be playing some snippets of some Elvis interviews. So just a nice little combination of a few different things, and really not just all me talking. I might pop in and interject a thought or something like that, but wanted to make a video for y'all, the fan, and hopefully it'll be a feast for your eyes and your ears. So this is Elvis Photos. Hopefully you stay to the end. Hopefully you share this to your friends, share it to fan pages, and yeah, we'll see you at the end of the video.
What my reaction to those pictures?
I've got an outline there, Bob. Yeah. Maybe whatever at this point comes to mind. Where were you at the time? Can you remember where you were, what you were singing that time?
Well, it's an old suit, and it's got pleats in it and so forth, so it had to be like 55 or 56. And the guy in the background was my first drummer, DJ Fontana.
So those were the early days when you were doing the road tours and you were driving?
What were the appearances like then? What were the crowds like?
Oh, they were good. They were really good. Just that's the same guitar that I use now. Same one.
You had the same guitar all these years?
You're kidding. Yeah. I remember another one that said Elvis Presley on it. It was kind of inlaid.
Yeah, well, I have two, you know. Yeah. I was in a nightclub one night, and this big fight broke out in this club. I had two guitars. I always keep one on the side in case I break the strings. And I remember thinking, I hope that nothing happens to that guitar. It's brand new. I heard a crunch, and this guy had stepped in it. Had it hanging on his foot, man. So I had to get a new one there. But as far as where these were, I don't know.
You just had a small group with you in those days?
Yeah, I had a lead guitar player, a bass player, not an electric bass, an upright bass, a guy named Bill Black, and the drummer. That was it.
Were you doing one-nighters then?
Mm-hmm. Doing one-nighters, and I was working in Shreveport, Louisiana.
You know, that looks like a boom mic up there, so it might be one of the early TV shows.
And on this one here, I think somebody goosed me or something.
I see that hand back there.
Yeah, the guy had a guitar on like it.
What was your sound like in those days? How would you describe it?
Well, it was good. It was good, you know, for then, I thought. The guys were good musicians. They were with me from the time I made the first record. They were called in by the guy that I started with, Sam Phillips, on Sun Records.
What was it like traveling in those days? I mean, that's a long time ago. How would you sleep?
We slept in the back of a car, and, you know, we'd do a show, and we'd get off stage and get in a car, drive to the next town, and sometimes we get there just in time to the show. Wash up.
You know, the next day the same thing? Or?
Mm-hmm.
What were the security problems like then?
We had to learn that over a period of time. You know, I got caught in some pretty good crowds.
The fans have always pretty much been the same, though, right? Large audiences and the same anticipation before and after. I mean, large numbers of people.
It was always exciting. As far as the numbers of people, we had to go according to the buildings, you know.
Well, that's a picture of Elvis and Jackie Wilson there. What we do know about Elvis's shows is that if he went to Europe and played in those arenas, they would have been full too. So some of Elvis's numbers, you know, nowadays standards are not impressive, 13,000, 15,000, but back then they were, because that's all the building could hold. All right, so I'm going to play an Elvis tribute song. It's a new one that you probably haven't heard. And then we're going to get back to some more of the interview. I wrote this song because there's really not enough songs or tribute songs or even songs about Elvis being from Tupelo. Everybody thinks Memphis, but Tupelo is really where his soul came from. Just a poor little boy, living with the other impoverished people of all different colors. And, Elvis, he really rose from that.
Don't you dare call him names. You don't know him like we all do. Priscilla took his legacy and tried to send it down in flames. That you, we don't need this Me Too world, saying all these things so cruel. We know a side of him they'll never know, a heart as big as the whole world, the boy from Tupelo. Don't be surprised to see us, then you don't, 'cause we don't take no sit down and think again. Don't be cruel. This is the last chance you'll get. We don't need this Me Too world, saying all these things so cruel. We know a side of him they'll never know, a heart as big as the whole world, the boy from Tupelo. Elvis tried his very best to love us all, no matter what the cost. So if you don't like the king of rock and roll, shush up or get lost. We don't need this Me Too world, saying all these things so cruel. We know a side of him they'll never know, a heart as big as the whole world, the boy from Tupelo. A heart as big as the whole world, the boy from Tupelo.
Yeah, so anyways, that's something I just thought I would honor Elvis's legacy coming from Tupelo. And it's actually not the only song I've written about Elvis and Tupelo as well. I'll get another one that I wrote called The Tupelo Tornado, which I'll share at another time. In the meantime, let's get back into this great interview.
And when I first started out, they didn't have the buildings that they have now. Like I would play like the Fox Theater in Detroit. It didn't hold that many people, so I'd do 6 or 7 shows. They'd show a movie, and I'd come on and do a live show.
Really?
Yeah, they'd show a movie, and I'd do the show.
Was that the days when you had a lot of acts in the same show too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was.
What kind of people were on the show?
Well, it was mostly people from the Grand Ole Opry at that time. I was extra added attraction, in the show.
At that particular time, Other than Frank Sinatra, I can't remember anybody who had wild, screaming crowds up until that point. You prepared at all for that possibility?
No, I wasn't. The first time it happened, the first time that I appeared on stage, it was a charity thing. It was a place called The Shell. And when I left the stage, they were yelling and screaming and so forth. I did 2 songs. And it scared me to death, man. I didn't know what I'd done. The manager backstage, I said, what'd I do? He said, well, whatever it is, go back and do it again. So I went back out and I did the same thing again. I really didn't know what the yelling was about, screaming. I didn't realize that I was moving, my body was moving. It was a natural thing to me, you know.
It was not a conscious thing at all?
No, I wasn't even aware. It was just the rhythm. And the guy that played bass for me he could slap the bass, a double leg, you know. It was really a wild sound. It was like a jungle drums or something, you know, that nature. So we enjoyed it, you know. We enjoyed it on stage, but it was very wild. We had to. Where's it?
I don't know where that is.
It's outside.
Seattle. Seattle.
Seattle. Mm-hmm. We did a lot of outside concerts, but one of the bad things about outside is you lose your sound. Sound goes up.
Well, I guess in those days the only big places to hold that number of people were outside, right?
Football stadiums and baseball stadiums, things like that.
But you never knew what to expect, huh?
No.
So, you know, when Elvis got a chance to go back to live performing, you know, to do the Vegas shows, I mean, he was kind of a combination between, you know, certainly less fans than he'd played for back in the 50s at times when he played some of those big outdoor arena shows, you know, that show up in Canada. But it was controlled sound, and that had to be great for Elvis as a singer, as an artist. First off, to be able to hear all your musician friends, to be able to hear all the background singers clearly, to be able to hear your voice without having to fight over the audience screams, because, you know, you had monitor systems. You know, if you're not a musician, back in those days in the 50s, when you are singing out there, you really didn't have very good monitors or any monitors at all. They were speakers, so you were just struggling. So it's a wonder that Elvis sang and sounded as good as he did back in those days without the technology to support the talent. So here's another song I wrote, and then we're going to get back to more interviews. So hopefully you're going to enjoy this, and this is going to be a little bit longer video, and maybe gives you something to watch tonight too, if you can't finish it all right now while you're in bed. Or anyways, let's get back to it. One of my personal favorite songs that I felt really inspired to write about Elvis here. It's called Black and White.
Would the world still be painted black and white if that Technicolor voice had never sung? Would Pat Boone still be the hunk of burning love? Would the world have ever heard Ray Charles or James Brown if Elvis Presley's folks hadn't moved to Memphis town? We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Some people try to say he stole his sound. Elvis just sang from down within his soul. With just his voice he broke the great divide between all music that was black and white. B.B. King and Little Richard thanked him. Elvis took the racist world and changed them. We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. like a different place if we never got to gaze on Elvis' face. We went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from just a seed to a field of golden flowers, from horse and buggy to a rocket ship. Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Yes, Elvis did that with a shake of his hips. Yeah, yeah.
Without further ado, here's some more Elvis interview. He's going to talk a little bit about security, and I want to know your thoughts about whether there was really enough security at Elvis concerts, knowing what we know now.
Like, how would you, we know what the security is like now and how you arrive at a big arena. How would you come in those days? Now you've been through an experience of having been scared by the reaction. What would you start to do? How would you arrive at the stadium?
As quietly as possible. But it was pretty well. I like the excitement and everything. It was.
Have the fans changed, Elvis, over the years?
I don't think so. You know, I think I see people of all different ages and things out there. You know, and if I do something good, you know, they let me know it. If I don't, they let me know that. Like, for a while, it was a theory that anything I did would sell and so forth. Well, I knew that was not true. It's according to the material. You got to have good material.
So
Whether it's a song, a script, or whatever, it's got to be good. Or
Time just wrote an article on the Rolling Stones, and in the article they said only Elvis Presley, except for maybe Jagger, has that ability to play a crowd like a giant instrument panel, to tune them up and to tune them down. And we saw it on the tour.
in other words, you work the audience.
yeah,
How does that happen?
well, it's just it's a give and take proposition in that they give me back the inspiration and you know.
Kind of a circular thing.
Sure.
You give them something.
Sure. I work absolutely to them, whether it's 6 or 6,000, it doesn't really matter. It's just they bring it out of me, the inspiration, the ham.
If you go out there some night,
Sure.
let's say you're in 4 or 5 tunes, and it just isn't coming back from the audience, what do you do?
I change the songs around. I'll go back and stay up all night, working on it, you know, worrying about it. I'll find out what it is. It's not getting off the ground, you know, the first 4 or 5 numbers. Because that's very important, you know.
Do you ever play to one particular person in the audience? Do you ever single out, say, a girl that's on the side of the stage? Play to her?
That's difficult because of the lighting.
So dark.
I can't hardly see them, you know. I can see them, but not in detail. You know.
You can count the flash bulbs.
I will play off of an isolated incident, say if somebody's really jumping up and down or yelling or enjoying it or whatever.
So, some of the new fans might not realize how Elvis had eye problems, you know, glaucoma. And, you know, those bright lights, no matter, even when he had the house lights turned down, you know, his eyes were still bugging him, bothering him. So he really desperately wanted to see his fans. He wanted to see your faces, and maybe he did in a lot of circumstances. But it's too bad that somebody that was so loved, in a sense, almost couldn't enjoy it as much as a normal person would that had normal vision. You know, that's just a tragedy in itself. That being said, let's get back to the interview, and I'll do some more music. We got some more photos coming up that I'm sure you'll enjoy.
I'll play to that in a way, you know. Not all the time, but I'll go to it.
Let's talk about how the whole show has come to being. Because I know it's your creation. You know, from every person up there is really somebody that's up there for a reason. Like, for instance, the stamps. How do they come to be picked?
I just want a male gospel quartet who stays with me. for background. So I simply find out who's doing the best at that particular time. And some of the best voices in the world are in that type of music, but you don't hear about them that much. So I had known J.D. Sumner from the time he started to work for this group called the Blackwood Brothers in Memphis. And a group that worked for me called the Imperials had a contract with somebody else. And when they left, I had to replace them, and so we called J.D. Sumner, and he told us about the Stamps, you know. It was a new group that just put together. The name of the Stamps has been around for years, but the groups have changed. And this was a new group that had just been put together. So they sent me some records of these guys, and I picked them on that basis. And the same with the girl singers. They had backed Aretha Franklin and a lot of other people.
Why was it important for us to have a male gospel group as part of the act? How did that fit in?
In other words, was there a certain feeling you were going after for your whole show?
Yeah.
I think one time.
That plus, excuse me, Jerry, that plus, I wanted musicians that could play any type of music. Lead guitar players and bass, piano, who could play classical or anything, which those guys can. And all the musicians were all handpicked. I auditioned musicians for days and days, drummers, guitar players. Somebody said, I said, who's the best guitar player around? And they said, well, Glenn Campbell and James Burton. And I said, well, Campbell's out. He's on his own, so James Burton. But there's a lot of good men around. It's just a matter of finding them. But they all just fit in, and fortunately they knew most of my songs. You know.
But I mean, you wanted voices behind you, and
I wanted voices behind me to help add to the fullness of the sound and to get the dynamics of the show.
And the same on the tour. Why did you want to have a full orchestra?
Because of the places being so big and everything, I wanted to fill the room up with sound as much as I could, with music. And a lot of records have been orchestrated.
You mean like on arrangements like Bridge Over Troubled Water and American Trilogy?
Yeah, you've got to have that bigness there. You've got to have the dynamics of sound.
Speaking of American Trilogy, I do want to introduce a new song that I wrote that it's funny. There's a little mention about American Trilogy in it because it's one of my favorite songs. Really, the interviewer mentioned two of my favorite songs, Bridge Over Troubled Water and American Trilogy. Let me know what your favorite Elvis songs are while you're listening to this song.
Sit down in any diner in small town USA. You're sure to get a friendly "How are you?" then "Have a good day." Yes, ma'am, you do too. You'll hear most of us saying, and there's sure to be an Elvis song playing. 'Cause Elvis is America. He bled red, white, and blue. He served his country proudly, and a lot of you did too. That's why he's still in coffee shops and on the radio, in your living rooms and on some late night show. As sure as Ford and Chevy makes a truck, Elvis is America. And every child who says his prayers at night and every dream a dreamer dreams that ever comes to life. There's a piece of the man who dared to reach, just like the U.S. Army says to be all you can be. 'Cause Elvis is America. He bled red, white, and blue. He served his country proudly, and a lot of you did too. That's why he's still in coffee shops and on the radio, in your living rooms and on some late night show. As sure as Ford and Chevy makes a truck, Elvis is America. He was just like you and me. He never forgot that. Each time he sang American Trilogy. 'Cause Elvis is America. He bled red, white, and blue. He served his country proudly, and a lot of you did too. That's why he's still in coffee shops and on the radio, in your living rooms and on some late night show. As sure as Ford and Chevy makes a truck, Elvis is America. As sure as Ford and Chevy makes a truck, Elvis is America.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that song, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of this interview. We probably won't get to the full interview in this video because it's pretty long.
And I enjoy it. You know, people wonder how I do it night after night or something. I really like it. I'm perfectly at home out there. I may lose 4 or 5 pounds a show easily, but I don't mind it. You know, I've been doing it ever since I've been in this business.
And how do the one-night stands feel? I mean, from city to city to city.
Oh, that's exciting. Used to traveling around and going to the shows and checking it,
saw a piece of
and having him say, "Oh, I knew you from 50 years ago," and I wasn't around 50 years ago.
Remember that piece of film that we saw today? What was it, 1968 or something like
It's
that?
from the top 10 outstanding young Americans.
10 Outstanding Young Men Awards.
Oh,
Remember what you said?
The JCs there?
Very short.
I was so nervous.
And you made a speech then, right?
Yeah, it's a different ball game when you're going out to sing and you're going out to make a speech. And I had nothing prepared. I was going to go out and just ad-lib it. But when I first started talking, my voice was so high. I sounded like somebody else, you know. It was way up here in this register, you know. God. I was really nervous. I don't know what I said. There's something about a song. I think I used it without a song the day we were in.
You used lyrics from the song. You said something interesting leading into that. You said, when I was a kid, I used to read comic books. I was the hero in the comics. When I saw movies, I was the hero in the movies. And I was like, really beautiful, you know, when you begin the whole projection of being a hero. Suddenly, you've grown up and you are a hero. Now there are kids sitting at home.
You had the line, "Everything's happened to me 100 times over."
Yeah. Is that what I said?
It was very sincere.
No, I
Honest, it was sincere.
yeah, I just,
It was something only you could have said.
it just came to me at the time. I didn't prepare it at all.
Can I tell you guys I wrote that?
For you. The secret to every great man is a good speechwriter. That's what you want us to say, right?
No.
But when you were a kid, is that how you identified with being a hero, by a comic book or by a newspaper?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like, who are your heroes?
Just any and everybody that did anything. Just it's the same today. You know, I watch people who excel in anything, whether it be sports. I'm not a golfer, but I watch the top golfers. Tennis players, the chess players. I admire anybody who can do anything of that nature, you know.
When did you first feel that you wanted to be a singer? Did you have a...
When I first realized I could sing, and at about 2 years of age, I found myself singing. I mean, I was singing, and people would listen to me around the housing project where I lived. And as time went by, I was about 8 years old, and they entered me in a talent show. I wore glasses. Had no music, and I won, I think it was 5th place in this talent contest, this state talent contest. I got a whipping the same day. My mother whipped me for something. I wanted to ride. Destroyed my ego completely. But I would sing like in church, my mother and father, but you know, when I was about 10 years old, they gave me a choice between a guitar and a bicycle. So I took the guitar and to watch people. I learned to play it a little bit. But I would never sing in public. I was very shy about it. You know? And in the 11th grade in school, they entered me in another talent show. Nobody knew I sang anything. I was singing around the apartment building where I lived. But they entered me in this talent show. Do what?
The Colonel Story. That's the
Colonel
sequel to
Story?
this, yeah.
I don't know.
You guys came
Have your sideburns.
Sideburns. There were some truck drivers, believe it or not, that drove big diesel trucks and so forth across country, and I don't know, they had scars on them. They were wild-looking guys. So I used to lay on the side of the road and watch these guys drive these trucks. And I just, when I was old enough to grow sideburns, I grew them, you know. I got criticized a lot for them, kicked off the football team and so forth.
You were different than most of the kids then, right? I mean, you dressed differently, you know?
Well, I suppose so by normal standards, but it was just something I wanted to do. I wasn't trying to be better than anybody else.
Let's go back to the 11th grade talent contest. What happened?
Well, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't popular in school. I wasn't dating anybody at that school. I failed music. I was taking music. I flunked music just flat, man. Whew. F. Only thing I ever failed. And they entered me in this talent show. And I came out, I did my 2 songs. And when I came on stage, I heard people kind of rumbling and whispering and so forth. Because nobody knew I even sang, really. And it was amazing how popular I became in school after that.
What did you say?
Let me see. Till I Waltz Again With You by Teresa Brewer. That was a song I sang. So then I went on through high school and I graduated.
What happened? You never sung in public before. You get out there, you're scared, pissless, and ugly, and you start to sing. What happens?
Well, about the same thing happened later on at the Shell. You know, the kids and everybody really went. You know, I got 10 or 11 encores, that type of thing. They just kind of halted the show at that period. And it scared me, but then it made me very happy too. But I was still shy about it. I wouldn't sing in public for a long time, and I went for maybe a year. I just kind of forgot about it. I got out of school and I was driving a truck. I was dating a girl and waiting for her to get out of school so we could get married. And I was training to be an electrician because they make $3 an hour. You know, and I was very serious about it. I made the first record really as a personal thing for my mother. And that same company called me a year later and said, "We got a song that you might be able to do." It was 12 o'clock. I said, "Can you be here about 3 o'clock?" I was there by the time they hung up the phone, you know. Whoop, I know it, man. So.
What did your dad say about a guy with a guitar?
Yeah.
He still feels that way today.
No, it's funny. I say it to him every once in a while. He just laughs about it. He gets embarrassed if I say it in front of somebody. Now, here I was having an epileptic fit. You know, they just happened to film it.
How old were you then? When that picture, do you have any idea?
I was about 19.
You look like you're trying to get your balance.
Oh.
What happened to all those movements that he used to do? I noticed you changed them around a lot.
I don't know. I learned better after a while.
What happened when you went on TV that time?
You mean when they filmed me from the waist up? I think it was a matter of, it was new at that time to see anybody's body vibrate or move at all. And that's what I was doing.
When you went on with Sullivan Show, did you know he was going to film you only from the waist up?
I wasn't conscious of those type things, you know, really.
But in that day, do you think people thought it was shocking or
I think so. I think they probably did.
How did you find out that he had cut it that way, that he had not shot your whole body?
When I saw it, played back, and I was so busy at that time, man, so I didn't really have time to. You gotta remember, you know, I was just 19. So they just showed me out in the world.
Did things start happening fast?
Yes, very fast.
What happened there?
Well, I started working on those shows with those guys from the opera. Started traveling and doing more TV shows, and then I came to Hollywood. I did 4 movies. So everything was happening in a short period of time. And then right when I was going good, I got drafted. And overnight it was all gone. It was like a dream. Pow. Changed.
What happened in the Army? What did you expect? What did you find? How do people treat you?
They treated me very well. You know, I've had people ask me if I had a rough time or something. I just did the same thing everybody else did. I didn't ask for anything, and they didn't give me anything, you know. I just did the same thing everybody else did. I made it very well. I had no trouble at all.
I remember your dad was telling me that they expected you to sing, and but that you didn't want to make it that kind of a.
Now, they asked me once or twice, like Bob Hope would come over and do his Christmas thing.
This is Rare Elvis Photos. Let me know what you think, some of your thoughts on some of Elvis's opinions, some stuff that he shared that was personal. TCB TLC, this is Rare Elvis Photos. Until next time. We'll do another picture, music, and interview video soon.